It's raining, man. Hallelujah, it's raining, man. Yeah, as you can see, it's raining pretty badly. Welcome, guys. We're back for qualifying. I am Robert Ionescu, your a secondary commentator, and alongside me is Joseph Willows. Hello there, Joe.
If you sang that for a further 5 or 6 seconds, we probably would have got a copyright claim there. But
Um, it's not like
yeah,
they're gonna send the DMCA on this little channel, but yeah.
oh, you never know. Anyway, but as Rob said, we are here for the qualifying session here at the British Grand Prix, and as you can see, traditional British weather, it is even heavier than what it was earlier on in practice, which kind of makes who I'm in the Goins comment a little bit invalid there. So yeah, monsoon conditions here for Silverstone, so you know what that means. The grey extreme tyres will be needed. So, whilst we wait for it to load up, let us know, guys, your prediction on who you believe will get knocked out in Q1. I'm going to ask you, Rob, who do you believe will be knocked out in Q1?
If this was a dry session, it would be much more straightforward. But this is a wet session. I cannot make any prediction. I hope you understand, Joe.
Okay, well, I'm going to play it safe and go with some usual predictions. I'm going to say both Manners, both Hasses, and I'm going to say both Alphas. I've got a feeling that the Williamses might make it through. I'm going to pitch my bet that both Williamses will make it through into Q2. But we'll see, of course. And as expected, as you just saw there, the extreme wet tyres are on the car. And we'll be getting ready to go in this session. So who's going to be the first one to blink and who'll be the one to first to go out to try out these conditions here in Q number 1 as we're in the cockpit of Amelia Wilson. No, we did. Well, I think they'd seen it anyway, but of course,
They're pretty
it's going to
high.
be like pretty high, yes. So it's 100% in Q1, 100% in Q2 for the rain, and 95% for Q3. So you're going to have rain for the entirety of the session. And knowing our luck, it will probably be dry tomorrow, given that we've only had dry races this season in the OC, as I've touched upon in practice. But Armar is the first man out on the track. He's going to be the first to test out the conditions around here at Silverstone. So he makes his way through. Ian Tree's also been joined by De Rosa and Q Park, who are also out on the racetrack. So I'm going to read now your predictions in the stream chat on what you think. So Franco Gamba said both Manners, a McLaren, a Ferrari, an AlphaTauri, and an Alfa Romeo to be exact. So that's a very bold prediction there for Franco. Jafari said both Manners, both Haas, and both Alphas. So same prediction as me. Funk Chanaka said both Manners, a Haas, a Williams, an Alfa, and an AlphaTauri. As Dennis said both Haas, an AlphaTauri, a Manor, a Renault, and an Alfa Romeo. He just put that Alfa Romeo one in there at the last minute because he kind of forgot to put 6 there. So a lot of bold predictions here, given its extreme wet conditions, and of course with the qualifying mistake rate, it could make things very, very interesting, Rob.
Absolutely. It's already difficult enough in the wet and normal conditions, but add the qualifying mistake on top of that, and you get yourself an absolute mess. And on the topic of predictions, Joe, want to know what the best thing about having no prediction is? You can't be wrong.
True, I guess. True. So, anyway, we're about to start our first flying lap then, courtesy of Armar Car. I believe all 22 cars are now out on the track. I'm not seeing anybody on the minimap in the pit lane, so I think all 22 cars are out. That only shows 20 cars on the screen. So, and in fact, it does say all 22 cars are out on the top there. So, no traffic issues for Armar Car as he starts his first flying lap around here at Silverstone as he passes the wing. As now through turns 1 and 2 of Abbey, obviously taking that a lot slower than what you would in the dry, having to lift off a little bit there through the first part of Abbey. Then into turn 3 of I believe this is called
Village.
The track, mate. Village. Well, I think Village is turn 4, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. But anyway, turn 5 then is Aintree.
In case these corners may be easy flat or in the dry, but in these conditions, absolutely not. It's going to be a massive struggle. And some call it a rain the great equalizer. It just depends on how much mechanical grip your car has. And most importantly, how much grit the driver has to drag that car through these treacherous conditions.
I apologise there, Rob. You were right. It is called Village. Turn 4 is actually called the Loop. So I do apologise there. You were right the first time there. So through into Cop's Corner now goes Armar Car as he uses all the curb on the outside. Just looking at the first sector times compared to everyone. Looks like Car is faster at the moment. Durosa only a 10th off.
Not far off.
Gamba, meanwhile, is not that far off either. He's about a 10th or so behind, and not much of a gap between Lopez and Carr at the moment. As there's a bit of lag there forming on that part of the track there. I don't know what's going on. That's a lot of lag there at the moment coming out of Chapel. I don't know if anything's running in the background there, Yuri. As now we go down the hanger straight now then, as it's now smoothed out.
112.4 for car.
Yeah, 1 minute 12.4 there for my car. Might have been just a simple glitch there with Yuri's computer. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway,
also about 6 and 12.
Typical antivirus. Through into the Vale corner then, and then into the double right-hander of Club through the first part, and then into the second part now then, as we make our way down towards the Hamilton straight. And what is the benchmark time going to be in these conditions for Armar Car? And it is a 1 minute 43.181. Here comes Kirishima DeRosa now then. He's just coming around the final turn. He's 3 tenths down on Car in the second sector, as DeRosa now then crosses the line, goes into second, 7 tenths off of Car in the end. David Kupak
not bad at all.
Around the final turn he will go now then, as not a very good lap for him. He's 2.5 seconds off of Armar Car at that point, as Griffiths is over a second off of Car in the middle sector.
I think he's going to go third.
Well, let's see really. Down the straight then goes Jamie Griffiths. Across the line will go the Williams, and he goes into fourth actually, 2 tenths off of David Kupak. Riding on board with Franco Gamba in the Red Bull. Across the line he will go. He obviously took pole here last season, goes into third. It's fourth for Miklos Gal. They both slot behind the McLaren of Kirishima DeRosa, in fact. Kirby's holding somebody up, that will be Evan Byrne, and so did he also hold up Franco Lopez. So a bit of traffic there at the moment. Lopez only fifth there. Chung goes into third. Here comes Jake Galloway, the man who got his second podium last time out in Austria. Only P6 in his third home Grand Prix. At the moment, here comes Joseph Willows in the McLaren, P10 for him, make that 11th because his fellow compatriot Chris Chatfield goes into 7th. Roberto Garber, P10 in the Ferrari.
Here comes George Roque. He's only 11th. His teammate Roland Mochin, meanwhile, is in P8, so he's done better than him by 5 tenths. Andrea Feder will be next to cross the line, and where is he going to go? He's going to 16th only. Gabriel Gomez, can he do better than that? No, he can't. He's only in P17. Fraser is next across the line. He goes 17th now. Zontag 12th. Only the 2 manners, I believe, remain. Here goes Martinez. Martinez goes into 17th. Amelia Wilson is the only driver left. And what is she going to do as she crosses the line? Where can she slot herself? I think she's going to go last, yes.
4.6 seconds off of Armar Car. In fact, over a second behind Dudu Kirby. But at the moment, Armar Car at the top with DeRosa and Chung in second. But as expected, quite a lot of traffic on that first lap, Rob.
Yeah, indeed. In conditions like this, the visibility is very low, so positioning your car right to avoid the traffic can be incredibly tricky. And the downforce is cut massively in these conditions. You need absolutely every bit of downforce you can get, and sometimes that means you're going to have to fight for space with some other cars around you. And if you're in that dirty air, may God have mercy on your soul.
Indeed. Laura said right there that she needs the white visor, so taking a little bit of a reference there from Felipe Massa all them years ago. A reminder as well.
Okay, baby, we're bringing you the white visor.
A reminder as well, of course, that Daniel Fraser has a 5-place grid penalty, so wherever he ends up in qualifying, he'll drop 5 places back, and at the moment he's going to be starting in last, because at the moment he's in 19th.
Yep, indeed. Basically, if he gets eliminated from this first session, he'll be at the back. It's simple math. But yeah, it's this Q1 is far from over, though I don't suspect we'll get a lot more runs. But in any case, yeah, Fraser, he's going to need to step up if he doesn't want to start at the back.
Indeed so, as Griffiths is now being wheeled back into the garage then. Now,
can I just say, meanwhile, Kirishima DeRosa had an incredibly impressive lap. He was the second one to start lap after Armar Car, and he stayed in second the entire time.
Pretty good lap there for Kirishima DeRosa, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see quite a few improvements in the moment, because the weather is just going to remain the same for the entirety as expected. So there's
well, his teammate is down in P15 as Joseph Willow, so I bet he's desperate to improve. He doesn't want to get eliminated because he is close to being on the cusp of the top 16, of course. So I'll be hoping he can avoid that elimination.
In time, both Williamses are in the top 16 at the moment, so they're so far going through into Q2, but still playing to go. Only Griffiths in the cusp.
Looks like your prediction is accurate so far, as Kai is preparing to go out.
Indeed, as both Alfa Romeos, both Manos, and both Haas's are currently in the drop zone. So Armar Car, just like last lap, is going to be the first on the track. I wonder if Kirishima DeRosa is going to be second on the road. Just keep an eye on the left-hand side there. Just keep an eye on the left-hand side there on the timing tab, because it will tell you who's on the track. As Armar Car now then just makes his way through turn 5 of what is called Aintree. Now making his way down the Wellington Straight. The only person on the track at the moment, although you can see in the minimap there is some movement, is De Rosa, the second one on the track. Let's see. And no, it's not. It's actually his teammate, Franco Lopez, who's second on the track. So a bit of a change there.
Griffiths is also going out.
So De Rosa hanging back for the moment but now he's out on track. He's fourth on the road at this present moment. Carl will be hoping when he gets
judging by the mini map, it doesn't look like De Rosa will be impeded. He's got a decent gap in front, but behind I'm not so sure. You need to hope he's not impeding the car behind him, because if you're overtaken by someone in qualifying, it's bad for both of you.
Indeed so, as Carl makes his way through Beckett's. And then through into Chapel will go Armar Car now then, as he makes his way down the hangar
Out of the drivers in the drop zone, Dudu Kirby is the only one who's gone out on track as of right now. But Armar Car is about to start his lap, and allow me to go through it.
Sure thing.
Alright then. Well, here we go. This section is normally much faster in the dry. When the wet, it's still a hard braking zone. Just be careful, very careful you don't aquaplane, especially in these heavy rain conditions. But here goes Kav. Very gentle on the throttle in towards Club Corner, beginning his second lap of the day. 9 minutes to go, and here goes Ska. Abby, maybe flat in the dry, absolutely not in the wet, and Ka takes a very cautious line. You don't want to put a wheel even 1 centimeter on the grass, because that'll be the end of you, and of your lap and everything. So yeah, Ka tippy-toeing around the track quite well, as he goes through the loop, and how early on the throttle is he going to get? I do believe he's getting a little bit of toe from that car in front of him. I think it looks like a McLaren, though I'm not quite sure. It is a McLaren, yes. Of Joseph Willows, that is.
Joseph Willows, of course, because as we mentioned
he's
earlier...
up by 6/100 of a second, Armar Car is. Meanwhile, Amelia Wilson has stayed in the pits, but we'll keep an eye on Ka. He's improved in Sector 1, but it looks like this second sector could be compromised, because he's already got the back of Joseph Willows. So if he doesn't overtake him on the run into Cops, that might be the end of his lap.
Indeed, as Carl, is he going to get by on Willows into Cop's corner? And the answer to that is no. Willows is going to hang it around the outside, although that might not do any favours for Willows, because, of course, he will get impeded a little bit by Armar Car when he starts his lap, and he can't afford to be impeded because he's only down in 15th.
Yeah, Willows needs to let him go right now onto the hangar straight. He doesn't want to get his lap ruined. As Kaz just gone off, I said you don't want to dip a wheel in the grass, even the slightest, and Kaz made that one error.
I did see there he was starting to get a little bit of understeer at the beginning of the second part of Beckett's, and there, look, you can see some oversteer there. Probably caught a wet patch, and then he ended up rumbling across the rumble strips there, just on the outside of Chapel. If
you lose the car even the slightest in the wet, it's gonna take one hell of an effort to correct it. So yeah, that's pretty much settled for Ka. The moment he started aquaplaning, there was no way to recover it.
Indeed, as we now look at his teammate, who's up on his personal best at the moment, you can just see there. And he's actually up by 1.3 seconds. So I wonder, is the track actually improving?
I think it very well could be. I'll just have to keep an eye out on everything. If it stays like this, Lopez should go top by at least 1.2 seconds, maybe more. Let's stay with him as he goes in towards Vale. Tippy-toeing through this last sector, and early on the throttle into Club. Obviously, you're never going to go more than 50% throttle input on the traction in these corners. You don't want to aquaplane or slide off, as Lopez goes to the top by 1.6 seconds. So make that 50% more than I expected.
Actually, let's point out as well, in fact, that there is I presume it's the same with the extreme wets. There is a soft and hard extreme wet, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. But, okay. Okay, one extreme wet then. So it might be because the conditions.
Here goes Dudu Kirby.
The 19th for him that time by. Here comes Franco Gamba in the Red Bull, and P3 for him. That was a very big lap there for Franco Lopez to be 1.6 seconds quicker than Armar Car. So we now look at Evan Byrne as he now makes his way through the double right-hander.
Doesn't look like this is the best lap, but let's see if he can improve. I know he can't.
Tupac improves and so does Roke, but they're still over 2 seconds behind Franco Lopez in this session, as here comes Jake Galloway to cross the line in the Renault. P7 for him. Roberto Gamba across the line.
I managed to find 1/10, but Gamba's now gone into 7. What about Mochin? He goes 4th. Great improvement there. What about Laura Chunk right now? Where's she going to go? She goes 2nd. Great effort. She's been building up that momentum the whole weekend, and great Q1 showing. Gabriel Gomez is up next. He goes 12 fastest. And Miklos Dal goes perfect gun spinner. Felix Zonta has spun. And Willows has collected him. Lap ruined, and Willows was up.
Willows was up on his personal best as a result of that, and it was aquaplaning from Felix. He wasn't a collision, and unfortunately for Willows, he just didn't have any room to go around him.
Nope, definitely not, and that royally screwed up Joseph Willows' lap. And we're just 5 minutes to go in this session. He might be tight on time.
Indeed, and both. Well, it's fair to say Willows was unlucky there, and Chatfield even getting held up by that as well, so his lap will be compromised. And for Willows, well, he was up on his personal best, as we just said, but now he's in the cusp of the top 16 right now, and that might not be good for him, as we now look at Martinez, who's not up on his personal best at the moment, and currently in 18th.
Federi, meanwhile, is one big surprise. The Alfa Romeo man, P19, and he'll definitely need to improve on it. Martinez, he could not improve, though it's no real surprise. De Rosa still with an impressive showing. He's coming into the pits.
And they are these laps done with, and it's fair to say, what a lap from Franco Lopez to be over a second clear of everyone at the moment.
Well, we've seen Mercedes have a dominant edge in practice when it came to everybody else, and it's good for them that they're carrying that speed into qualifying. For everybody else, though, I think it's absolutely terrifying.
Indeed, as it's all right for Felix, you don't need to stress about that one. But yeah, disappointment there for Willows, as he was looking like he was going to improve there. And, well, in fact, speaking of which, Sontag and Willows both in the cusp at the moment. Griffiths currently in the drop zone, as we're right on board with him. He's down in 17th position as a result of Gabriel Gomez improving to go all the way up into 12th.
Don't forget, we're expecting Wilson to go out soon. She has skipped the previous run, and she will have enough time. And also, the guys who go out early enough will have enough time as well for one last lap. So we'll see what's going to happen.
And we'll have one more last lap, and once again, it's car who's going to be the first on the racetrack. There are still a few more cars that are still to come into the pits, and maybe traffic could be a problem for Carr. It was obviously the previous lap as well with Joseph Willows before Carr made the mistake, of course, at Beckett's. And given that he's 1.6 seconds off of Lopez, he probably feels the need to improve.
I still think he's holding back somewhat. Obviously, his personal best that he set, he was able to beat his sector one time, so I definitely think he's running with some reserves in his pocket right now, and I don't think he wants to show as much pace as Lopez is showing right at the moment. Both of them are going to be safely through Q1, and they're going to go safely through to the shootout as well. So yeah, I think Guy's just saving himself for now. He doesn't need to go all out, but I just think he needs to get a better grasp of the balance of the car, because for Q3 that'll be key.
Indeed, as they come out of Luffield now then, as Carr will be preparing to start his next lap. Also on the track with him, we've got Franco Lopez, we've got Kirishima De Rosa, and they are the only three out on track at the moment at this point in time, as Carr makes his way through Cop's Corner there. And will there be traffic? Because there is a load of cars still in the pit lane, as you can see there on the top right of the mini-map, but there are some more coming out, as you can just see as well. And as one
Griffiths has gone out again.
He needs to, really. Will anybody else in that drop zone get out on track? Griffiths has gone out. Will Willows go out on track? Because there is the threat that he could get knocked out. And of course, let's not forget, he was up before he got involved in that collision with Felix Sontag. Through into
I'm surprised Wilson hasn't gone out yet.
No, definitely not. She's clearly holding back for the moment. But they need to be quick, of course, because if it goes under 1 minute 41, then there's probably a high chance that they're not going to get a lap in, of course, with these conditions.
Well, speaking of that, she has gone out right now. So has Evan Byrne, and so has David Kubok.
Kirby's gone out as well, so he'll get one more chance to try and get himself into the top 16 threshold. And as Carr has just started his lap, is there going to be any traffic on the exit? There is. What car is that on the right-hand side?
Isn't that Willows again?
Oh, it's an Alfa Romeo.
I saw the red at the back and I confused it for the orange of the McLaren, but it wasn't the McLaren, it was the Alpha. In any case, Carr's lap is still impeded, but it's not like he cares much anyway.
Videri, that is, that's just gone out as well, and he's currently in the drop zone, so he'll give himself one more chance. Willows, Martinez and Fraser haven't gone out, nor has Sontag at this point in time, as Carr wasting no time disposing of Videri going through into Brooklands. There's only a few seconds left for them to get out there to do one more lap, and through into Luffield we will go now.
That's it.
And that's it, really, I think. So in the case of Joseph Willows, he's got to pray that Griffiths, Videri, Kirby, and Wilson don't get into the top 16. Willows has just gone out, but I think he's left it a bit too late there. So Willows, I think, has got to pray that he can get himself into Q2.
Yeah, far too late. What were McLaren thinking there? They could be throwing away Q2 appearance for their star driver at his home circuit and at their home circuit. This could be a bad mistake, a bad tactical error. Well, but they can still dodge that bullet. It's up to the others though. Willows has nothing he can do right now. Despite being impeded in Sector 2, is only 3 tenths down on his lap, so definitely showing he's not doing that terrible.
Indeed. Fraser also didn't get out on track, and because of his 5-place grid penalty, it will mean that he will start in last for tomorrow's British Grand Prix. So Wilson will move up 1 place if she doesn't improve. So anyway, Carr now then makes his way towards the final corner, and across the line then will go Amar Carr in the Mercedes. And Amar Carr, let's see what he can do. He does not improve, and he remains where he is at this point in time.
Lopez doesn't appear to be improving either as of right now.
Carr still 1.6 seconds off of Lopez as a result of that lap. Through into the double right-hander of Club now then. Down the Hamilton straight as Franco Lopez is now going to cross the line. And no improvement for him. Gal will just get 1 more lap in. I believe that will be the same for Roland Motrin as well. Here comes Kirishima De Rosa making
just
his
10
way
seconds to go.
With just 10 seconds left, through the double right-hander will go Kirishima De Rosa as he'll now make his way through the final turn and onto the pit straight. Then goes Kirishima De Rosa across the line, and the checkered flag is out. No improvement for him. Chung didn't get out, and nor did Willows, and nor did Fraser, of course. So Fraser will start.
That was
last.
a close one.
Willows has got to pray. Griffiths, meanwhile, is not up on his personal best, so it looks like that Griffiths is not going to get into the top 16 unless he finds some time in this last sector. Through the double right-hander.
It looks unlikely.
Through the double right-hander goes the Rocket liveried Williams, the one-off livery they're using for this week. They'll obviously revert back next week at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Griffiths across the line, no improvement for him, as Gomez obviously didn't have enough time, but I think he's through anyway. Q-Pop, meanwhile, across the line he will go. He's currently 14th, remains in 14th as Galloway makes his way through the final turn. Across the line he will go in the Renault, and he remains where he is. Martinez obviously didn't have enough time, so he's going to stay in 18th. As Evan Byrne is up on his personal best. Through the final turn he goes. Byrne currently in 13th position.
Can he get himself into the top 10 here?
No, he goes up to 12th only. As Wilson
is
was up on the
improving.
personal
What is she
best.
going to do?
She just made a little mistake though at the first part of the club corner. She goes up to 19th, and let's see, because she has improved, so she is out. And look at that, she made a little bit of a mistake there. She was 1.2 up on her personal best, so she could have been a lot higher if it wasn't for that little mistake she made at the beginning.
She ended up 1.5 up just barely, but yeah, you don't want to clip that curb in the wet. It's slippery, and Wilson, a little bit of an error. She's been outqualified by her teammate by only by 600 of a second.
No improvement for the two. Oh, hang on a minute. There's been a bit of contact here between Kirby and Roberto Gamba, and it's also held up Franco as well a little bit. So Kirby is not going to make it through, and he was already down anyway, so it wasn't going to make a difference. But that pretty much reaffirms it that Kirby's not going to make it through, and it looks like both Hasses are going to be on the back row of the grid as a result. 21st and 22nd. Fraser, of course, had the 5-place grid penalty, but that's not going to matter because he's going to remain in last anyway. Videri across the line, no improvement. Same for George Roke as well. As we now look at Mikolas Gal on his final flying lap, making his way towards the next few cars.
Chatfield's improved all the way up to 5th.
Chatfield up into P5 in the Alpha Tauri. Through into the double right-hander then will go Mikolas Gal, as he's currently in P4. As across the line will go the Red Bull driver, and no improvement for him. Roland Motrin on his final flying lap makes his way towards the final corner. And onto the pit straight now then will go the Hungarian. Across the line he will go, and he does not improve. And that's that then. So Joseph Willows has dodged a bullet there and has made it through into Q2, and that is Q1 done with. So a reminder then, the top 3 being Franco Lopez, Laura Chung, surprisingly, in 2nd place, and Amar Carr in 3rd. And your bottom 6, as it's still trying to load at the moment, there we go. The bottom 6, as we're going to scroll down, is again Jamie Griffiths, Rosetta Martinez, Amelia Wilson, Andre Videri, Dudu Kirby, and Daniel Fraser. Fraser, of course, had the 5-place grid penalty, but it's not going to matter. He's going to start last regardless. So what did you make of that session overall, Rob?
Well, Fraser's going to go down from 22nd to 22nd, but yeah, very interesting session. McLaren definitely started to pray like crazy in the last few minutes, and their prayers got answered. Willows made it through safely. And yeah, that was very entertaining. Another thing I want to point out, Alpha Tauri. What juice are they drinking, man? They put a car into the top 5 yet again.
Seems like they've been topped with a lot of Red Bull, it seems there, Rob. But yeah, Chris Chatfield, P5, a very good end to the session for him there in Q1. Just going to wait for a moment, guys, of course. We're going to get everything prepared for Q2. And of course, we'll be back as soon as possible. I'll try and talk a little bit more. But in the meantime, guys, leave us your prediction on who you believe will get knocked out in Q2. I'll ask your predictions in just a little bit, Rob, when we get onto the loading screen. So just hold on for the moment. And so for the meantime, guys, leave your predictions whilst we wait for Q2 to get underway. And yep, as Franco Gama just mentioned there, an all back row lockout for Haas. Not a very good qualifying for them indeed. And it wasn't obviously helped by the 5-place grid penalty that Fraser had, but it didn't make a difference in the end.
Nope, certainly not. And if you want to hear my predictions as to who is going to get eliminated, I believe it's going to be one Alfa Romeo, that being Gomez, obviously. And also the one Williams of Zontag, one AlphaTauri, one Ferrari, one Renault, and also I don't even know. Whatever, let's just say both Renaults.
I was going to ask you later on, Rob, but seeing as you asked that, that's your prediction. I'll obviously say mine in a little bit as I just put this up on Twitter. But yeah, very interesting session to see Franco Lopez, in fact, over a second ahead of everybody. He put on a very insane lap in that session, Rob.
Absolutely right. Looks like he's been going all out right off the bat, but you have to wonder what sort of pace is Armarca hiding, because we've seen some glimpses. He definitely did not go full beans in that Q1 session, and I think it'll be a very interesting fight for pole. I'm definitely not counting out Ka. And I think even the Red Bulls or even a Ferrari could spring a surprise. Who knows?
Indeed so. Who knows, really? Could Lopez hold on, or could anybody else try and stop him? Yeah, obviously, Rob was saying maybe some drivers are holding back a little bit, as we have got the stream right up for us right now. As I'm still having to type away. Of course, it is still going to be rainy for Q2, as we saw there, 100% for Q2. And as you can see, there is, in fact, a chance of changeable conditions. As you can see, there's a dark patch there, which signifies extreme, but then it could get into the normal wet tyres. We'll have to wait and see. So I think we'll get underway with Q2. I will leave my predictions in just a little bit, just as I'm about to send this tweet, which I'm nearly finished.
Take your time.
As there we go. There we go. The tweet is out there for everybody to see right now, as we are in the garages right now. So my prediction then, for the people I believe will go out, I believe one McLaren, I'm afraid, Sontag, Gomez. What have you done?
What have you done?
What have you done, Yuri?
My gosh.
Low Yuri. Put a low Yuri in the chat if you want, guys, as he forgot to select the drivers that were out that got eliminated. But yeah,
I like how we're seeing the 2008 people.
Yuri, Videri was the one that got eliminated. There we go. I'm going to say Gomez, Sontag, one McLaren. I'm also going to say Renault. Who else am I going to say? I'm going to say an AlphaTauri, and I'm going to go bold and say a Racing Point. They're my predictions.
Okay.
As we've got the weather back, and it looks similar to what it was earlier. It's similar conditions, as you can see. Heavy, we've got extreme wet chance, and then potentially a chance for a normal wet weather spell to happen. But as you can see from the water tank on the filter on the left-hand side there, only half water on the track. So let's see, really. I think it's still going to be extreme conditions, or it could be normal wet. I could be wrong, but let's see. Let me read your guys' predictions.
I think the track can improve somewhat. That could lead to some big twists in this. So I'm quite excited for this Q2 session.
So I'm just going to read you guys' predictions. Franco has said Felix gave an AlphaTauri, a McLaren, a Ferrari, and a Renault. Jafari has said a Williams, both Ferraris, both AlphaTauris, and an Alfa Romeo. That Alfa Romeo, of course, being Gomez, and that Williams, of course, being Sontag. Ra has said Felix, Gomez, AlphaTauri, a McLaren, a Ferrari, and a Renault. Von Chanek has said Sontag, Gomez, an AlphaTauri, a Renault, a Ferrari, and a Racing Point. So that's what He said we are now in the garage, and yep, they are on the extreme wet tyres for the moment. In fact, that's wrong, in fact, because...
Some people are considering the full wets, not the extremes.
It's a split, in
Split
fact.
strategies, looks like.
Split strategies, some on the extremes, some on the normal wet. So this is going to be very interesting to see who's going to get this one right, as we've got some cars.
It'll be an interesting gamble. People are going out early. Q-Puck and not Carl Lopez, sorry, going out earlier than anybody.
Yeah, they're both on the extreme wets, and I've noticed as well that the Mercedes have actually split their two drivers. One of them is on the extremes, and one of them is on the normal wets. The extremes going to Lopez, and the normal wets going to Carr. It'll be very interesting to see who's got this one right, as Q-Puck is out on
Look at the sky in Sector 1. It almost looks bright. Almost.
Yeah, it looks like it is getting a bit brighter, and it looks like, as we saw with the filter on the left-hand side there, it appears that... the track is obviously a little bit lighter than what it was, as we've got some more cars going out on the track. The Ferrari's going out on the track.
I'd like to comment on the Mercedes situation. This could be a repeat of China with the split strategies.
Potentially, if anybody remembers the Chinese Grand Prix, obviously saw Franco Lopez being eliminated in Q2, of course, because of the split strategies. So, who knows, we could get a similar situation here today, as David Q-Puck is now going down towards the support pit straight, along with Franco Lopez. Lopez not gaining on him at the moment, so at the moment Lopez not getting held up by the AlphaTauri that's in front at this point in time, as there's still some cars in the pit lane.
I think he's just pacing himself for now. Having said that, though, he is getting closer as we speak.
I'm going through the Beckett's complex, and I think all the cars are out on track, so unless they're behind someone, Q-Pot shouldn't get held up unless Lopez interferes with him behind. And I need to press the live button, in fact, on my live stream there.
I think Lopez is definitely going to try something out to run things straight, but his first sector could be compromised.
Indeed so, as now Q-Pot makes his way down towards Vale, and then through the double right-hander of Club, through the right, and then into the final turn will go David Q-Pot, as he'll now make his way onto the Hamilton straight, and across the line he will start his first flying lap. And keep an eye on the guys who are on normal wet. Specifically, you want to look at Carr, the two Ferraris, and I can't remember who else was on the normal wets, but I do know the two Ferraris and...
I know Gomez, I think, was on the regular wets as well.
So keep an eye on that. Of course, as well, don't forget, with the normal wets, there is a soft and hard compound of normal wet. So keep that one in mind. The softer one being quicker than the harder compound. So be in mind of that one. As David Q-Pot now then makes his way down the Wellington Straight, 29.003 in the first sector, 28.8 for the Lopez in the first sector, so nearly 2 tenths quicker than DV Q-Pot there. It looks like Lopez isn't getting
obviously that's not representative though, because Lopez, you can see him even there in Q-Pot's mirrors. So yeah, I'm afraid Franco Lopez won't be saying the pace with this lap.
At the moment, no, as Roberto Garmo, in fact, is up on him. He's on the normal wet. 28.8 for Franco Garmo as well. As you just saw Lopez there trying to find a way through on Q-Pop, so that's going to affect Q-Pop's lap going through into Cop's corner there, through Maggots, and then into Beckett's. We will go through the left and then through the long swooping right-hander, and then they'll make their way down through Chapel. Let's see what his middle sector is like. We've obviously been compromised because of Lopez, and as a result, it's a 111.422 in the middle sector. Heading up towards...
I'd just like to touch on Armar Ka because his first sector is quite slow, a 30.6.
I wonder if he's being held up then, or whether he's on the harder compound of the normal wets. We'll have to wait and see. Was there contact there? It looks like there was contact between Lopez.
Yeah, there was contact. Lopez has spun it around, but he's got back. But in any case, that's both their laps ruined. I won't be surprised if they're going to be P15 and 16 after this.
Indeed, a 144.0 for Q-Pop, a 145 for Lopez, so I think they're going to be towards the rear. Here comes the first representative time, and Rope does a 141.9. Well, as quick as we've got another yellow flag.
Very yellow, and it's the Rossa was spun around.
I think there was another one as well down at Cops. Yeah, Gal's gone off, and so is De Rosa, so we've got some aquaplaning going on the track there. Let's have a look at Gal's first of all, and then we'll have a look at De Rosa.
I think De Rosa was further in front. Did he? No, he was behind. Gal had his own off, and then De Rosa had one of his own.
They're both at separate corners. His was at Cops, and the other one was at Stowe. And we're going to take a look at De Rosa. He's actually got into the gravel, so his lap has been ruined. Willows went to the top whilst all that was happening, getting in front of George Roke. And yeah, aquaplaning again, just like Gal.
Already a very chaotic session.
So 4 laps there not really representative, so we're probably going to have a weird order to start off with in these first laps. But yeah, the mistake rate definitely kicking in.
Pretty much everybody, almost everybody apart from these 4 lads, is going to be safely through to Q3 after this lap. Of course, they'll have another lap at the very least.
That's to confirm our car is being held up at the moment. I think he's being held up by Chatfield. Chatfield 8, car 9th, so he was being held up. Roberto Gamba and Laura Chung so far, 1-2 for Ferrari. Evan Byrne now then comes down the straight. Gabriel Gomez meanwhile up in 3rd. P5 for Evan Byrne. De Rosa's lap not really representative because of course he had that aquaplane moment. Same will go for Miklos Gal. We're now going to have a look.
Down, no surprise. Here we have Zonta.
Zonta coming around the final couple of corners. I think Gal will be 15 because I think it took him less time to get out of the gravel trap. P11 for him, P9 for Motrin, and Gal I would expect to be around about P15 because of his aquaplane, but let's see. As now around the final turn and onto the pit straight will go the Hungarian as Miklos Gal crosses the line, and yep, P15 for him. So a very chaotic opening laps there, Rob. So far, Ferrari 1-2 with Gabriel Gomez in 3rd, but I don't believe that will stay like that after these laps.
Can you believe it, Joe? We got both Mercedes outside the top 10 right now. When's the last time that happened? My goodness. If some crazy stuff happens in the second run, there is a chance that another Mercedes could be in the shootout, which would be crazy.
Oh, indeed. I think you probably have to look back towards the early part of when Mercedes first took over Braun GP. It's probably the last time both Mercedes got knocked out, potentially. Enough there then. So maybe, well, in general, with both of them outside the top 10, it probably would have been at that point. But that's probably that then. So as Gabriel Gomez, Yuri just notifying us there, of course, that this qualifying format only came at the start of the 2013 season, of course. Before then, when Mercedes first joined, we had the old qualifying format. So we're having to look back at when the last time both Mercedes qualified outside the top 10. I highly doubt it. I think both of them will be able to improve as long as they don't get any traffic in the way. But we'll have to wait and see, of course. But we didn't really get a true representation, really, of which tyre was better after that run, whether it was the normal wet or the extreme wet, Rob.
I think the only representation we got was one of chaos.
Yeah, that was it. With 4 drivers not really having a representative time. Well, a few, in fact, not having a representative time. Car, of course, getting held up. Keepbop having a collision with Lopez, which caused Lopez to spin. Gal aquaplaning and De Rosa aquaplaning.
Like I said, 11 out of these 16 guys have got a clean lap on the board. 10 of them are through at the moment. So yeah, almost everybody who didn't bin it is through as we speak. Of course, still got 8 minutes to go. Everybody will be getting at least one more run. So I won't be surprised if somebody gets 2.
We will see, of course, as Sontag there getting wheeled back into the garage, currently up in 11th position, as Franco Lopez not wasting any time and going out first to ensure that he doesn't get held up and hopefully try and put a representative time on the board to get his Mercedes through into Q3. As the championship
this time around, obviously he collided with him on his last flyer, so now I don't think he even needs to push hard. He just needs to be extra cautious.
Lopez now then out on the racetrack now then for Mercedes. He makes his way through the left-handers now then of the Loop and of Aintree. So Franco Gamba also out on the track, as I think Rob just pointed out to there. There's some movement you can just see there on the mini-map, some more cars coming out on the racetrack. One of them being Laura Chong, one of them being Gabriel Gomez. In fact, both of them in the top 3 as we speak. Whether they'll hold on to that, though, I'm not sure, because, of course, Lopez looks like, unless there's traffic on the exit of the pit lane when he comes back around, should be able to get a clear lap in.
Yeah, I think so, but it's obviously up to him not to mess things up. We know what happened to our car in Q1 when we went to the chapel. So Lopez just needs to tip it though around and exercise extreme caution, the reigning champion. And that's how he's going to make it through to Q3. He doesn't even need to push for a glory run or anything like that. Of course, you need to keep in mind, what if the weather's gone worse? That could be a big dilemma.
Could do indeed, as Lopez now then makes his way down the hangar straight as...
Watching is going out.
Indeed, as Lopez now then makes his way through Stowe Corner. In the car around the long swooping right-hander before making his way down towards the Vale and double right-hander of Club. I should point out as well...
he's still on the extreme, so I was going to say that as well.
Lopez still on the extreme wets. He's decided to still stick with the grey extreme tyres. I was just going to point out as well, of course, we've got Roberto Gamba at the top of Q2. If he does top it, it won't be the first time he's topped Q2. Does anybody remember back in 2015 when he topped it for Sauber at the Monaco Grand Prix back in 2015?
I remember. Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, a very shocking session that was, and he later on got third in qualifying in Q3.
I remember I was angry because I think I got knocked out in Q2 on that one, so...
It was quite a strange session that one was, to see a Sauber at the top, but it might be different now because as you
Purple
can see,
sector
Lopez
one for Lopez.
But only 12,000 up in the first sector, so we'll have to see if he can keep that up in the next two. He should be able to, because we know how good the Mercedes is around the track, around corners, of course. A brilliant right-hander, but you never know, of course. I could jinx it at this point as he goes around Woodcote.
Doesn't matter by how much he is through. All that matters is that he is through. And if he keeps it on the track, he'll make it through, no worries.
As Lopez now then makes his way towards Maggots and Beckett through the left and right, as he'll soon be approaching the end of Sector 2 very soon. Let's see if he's still up on Roberto Gamba through this twiddly bit. Let's see, going through Chapel, and let's see what his middle sector is like.
That was touch and go. Almost went to the curb there, but he's lost time to Gamba.
Still up on his personal best, but he's 6 tenths down on Roberto Gamba in the middle sector. Through into Stowe Corner, then we go. There was no mistake. I think Roberto, of course, did it on the normal wet, so that could suggest maybe the normal wets are the way to go.
Yeah, both the Ferraris are on the normal tire spec. As Lopez goes a little deep under braking into Vale, but I don't think it's cost him too much time. He will make it through. It's only a matter of what position he's going to end up. Let's see. Here goes Franco Lopez.
4. Franco Lopez there. So he gets under a
Not
second
a fantastic lap, but that'll do. He just needs to make it through safely to Q3. That's when he can say it's a great lap. As long as you make it through to Q3, doesn't matter how quick you go.
Franco Gamba doesn't improve that time by. Laura Chung not up on her personal best. I'm looking what tyre she's on this time by. And she's on the extreme, so that should suggest that maybe the conditions have got heavier. So maybe Roberto could stay at the top. We'll have to wait and see. As Q-Puck improves to go up into 7th, so he desperately needs that
Jake Galloway is also on an improvement on the extremes. Where is he going to go? He's going to go at P8. As George Rook up next. He's in P10. He goes up to 8th, so gets himself a couple of places. That goes into 2nd, very close to back of Roberto Gamba.
He did it on the extreme wets as well, so who knows really what's going on there. P2 for Roberto Gamba splitting the 2 Ferraris, as Chatfield meanwhile goes into 11th, still outside the top 10. Roberto Gamba doesn't improve on a 139. Willows is up on his
Willows. Oh, still 11th. Oh, he can miss out on that one. There isn't much time left. As you have Miklos Gal, he goes through to P6, sends Rook to the drop zone.
Rosa was up in P7, but now made that P8. Here's Felix Gonzalez who's up on his personal best. Could he potentially try and get the Williams through into the top 10? Could that be too much of an ask? I don't know.
Could be difficult, but if he can make it, but if there's anyone who can make it work, it's him. Let's see. Across the line he goes. He's not going to make it.
16 for him. Motrin's up on his personal best at the moment. Motrin currently in the drop zone at the moment, and only P12 at the moment for the Hungarian, and that might be it for him, given the length of the track. So I think Motrin might be out in this session.
Not to mention he's qualified behind Rogue, so both racing points are going to be out as things stand. But the bigger shock is the man on top.
Roberto Gamba doing what he did at Monaco 5 seasons ago, and looks like he's going to be the person to top Q2, given that he set that time on the normal wet tyres. So both Ferraris getting through into Q3, and on top of that as well, looks like Galloway may be out. It depends on when he did his time. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Chatfield could be out as well in the Alpha Tower. We obviously need confirmation as well once we get to the 1 minute, I would say 1 minute 41 mark due to the conditions worsening. And
not to mention that not everybody can go as fast as Roberto Gamba on the outlap. So probably around the 1 minute 43 mark, I'd say.
Yeah, we'll see, of course. Gomez, though, very good time for him. He's going to get the Alfa Romeo through into Q3 from the looks of it.
Everybody predicted he was going to go out. But this is the beauty of weather conditions. You never know what's going to happen. And Gabriel Gomez, well, he's definitely carrying the team right now. An incredible session he's having. And like we said in the practice session, if he loses the seat or not, I don't know. But he's not going to lose it at a fight. And he's definitely fighting.
He did, definitely so, as they're all in the pits right now. I'm just looking at the countdown. There's still a couple of cars left, so they're going to be out. That's Motrin and Sontag, so they're definitely out of qualifying. And I'm just looking around the garage as the timer ticks away. And yeah, I think it's over. So I think it is fair to say that we have got our stuff. And look at that for a surprise. Who would have thought of this? Roberto Gamba, for only the second time in his career, tops Q2 in a session. He obviously topped it 5 seasons ago at Monaco when he was at the Sauber, and now he's done it again in the very chaotic Q2.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely. And this time, it's not on a track which had crazy AI lines. So, yeah, a good job for Roberto Gamba. But of course, the big question is going to be Q3. Franco Lopez is going out just to gather some data on these extremes. It's not going to matter. There's not enough time to start another lap. But both Mercedes dodged the bullet after the chaos they had at the start of this session.
Don't forget as well, of course, we do have 95% chance of rain for Q3 as well. So whether it will be just as spicy as this session, we'll have to wait and see.
I sure hope that it is, but who knows what's going to happen. It's in God's hands now. It could go to anybody. Even Cuba could take pole. So yeah.
Indeed so, as Lopez makes his way down the Wellington Straight, just gathering some data, as will a few other cars as well. And as Lopez now then makes his way through left and then through the long swooping right-hander of Luffield. So we've got our top 3, which is Roberto Gamba, Amar Khan and Laura Chung. Both Ferraris in the top 3. Could they spring a surprise in Q3? That is the question. And our bottom 6, both racing points out. Rokin 11th, Motrin 12th, Galloway 13th, and work to do for him. Wallows in 14th, yet again being knocked out in Q2. Chatfield 15th, and Sontag in 16th. But both racing points, disappointing for them, Rob.
Yeah, indeed. But about Ferrari, they've been looking very solid all weekend long. Ever since practice, as checker flag is out, that's the end of Q2. We're not wasting any time.
Indeed. So, a reminder then of your bottom 6. Both racing points of George Roken, Roland Motrin, Jake Galloway, Joseph Willows, Chris Chatfield, and Felix Sontag. Yes, George, you're not seeing things. That is Roberto Gamba at the top of the timing sheets as a result of him doing his lap on the normal wet tyres. So, for the second time in his career, he has topped Q2. So, we're just going to wait for a while, guys, and then we'll get underway with Q3, which could be very, very interesting with 95%
Yes, but before we go, I just want to mention to George, you're not going to believe this, but both Mercedes were in the drop zone after first runs. But yeah, we'll be right back shortly.
Indeed, and whatever lap time they'll do, we'll have to... what happens in Q2, we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But 11th and 12th for the racing points, a lot of work to do for them in what is obviously their home Grand Prix, of course, because, of course, where they're based at, it's just over the road, in fact.
Yep, indeed. And they're going to have some work to do tomorrow.
Indeed so, as I'm just trying to try and get a photograph of where Roberto Gamba came about. Let me see if I could try and find the Ferrari man. That's the other Ferrari of Laura Chung. Was Roberto behind at some point? Just going to have a look through the footage, through the archive. Trying to find him, in fact. Where the hell is he? So... where is Roberto on this footage? He's got to be somewhere, hasn't he? Might have missed him at that point. Whilst we're waiting, guys, leave us your prediction on who you believe will get pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix. And I'll wait till we get to the loading screen to ask your prediction, Rob, if you're still here. So, all right, fair enough. I'll say mine in a bit. I found a bit of footage I can use there for Roberto Gamba. It took me a while, but I found him. Here he is. Grabbed him. And I think people will probably be surprised about that if they're not watching this and they see that on Twitter. They'll go, "What?" So,
and here I thought Caitlyn Jenner having a W Series team was the craziest thing that happened today.
But it turns out that, in fact, Caitlyn has actually done some racing before when she was obviously known as Bruce before she had a sex change, obviously. But yeah, so obviously it's not like she doesn't know what she's doing. She clearly, obviously, seems to be passionate about motorsport. So hopefully she does well for the team that she owns, of course.
Well, I hope the drivers will be doing well because it's even more treacherous than before. Everybody's going to go on the extremes.
I'll say that. Is the stream back on, in fact, as we were just talking there? Yes, it is. It is extreme wet conditions for this one. So, yeah, so anyway, without further ado, I think we'll get on the way with it as I just put this tweet out. I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to actually say Franco Lopez for pole.
Okay,
read everybody else.
it looks like both of us have gone for mainstream options, huh?
I'm just typing away, so sorry if I go silent for a little bit.
Yeah, don't worry.
In a second. Roke. Turn. Galloway. There we go. Got the tweet out just in time as somebody was coming out on the track, and that is Kirishima De Rosa there. So De Rosa out on track, and as expected, they're all going out on the extreme wet tyres. Let me read your predictions, guys, on pole position you've said. Let me go up. Let's have a look.
Feng Chanot's prediction was quite interesting.
So Franco Garbo said David Cupot for pole, going very bold there. Dennis saying Ferrari pole. I haven't said which Ferrari. Fong Chanet says Evan Byrne pole. George Roke says Gal for pole. That's going to get memed. Jafari says car for pole. And as Franco Garbo believes a Merc will not get it. As Laura says a Merc will get pole. And so, yeah. It is raining here in the British Grand Prix. Whether that's an omen for tomorrow's race, I don't know. Unless, of course, it ends up being dry again, and we end up with the 11th race.
But I wonder what it means for the GP2 race coming up in not too long.
I'll have to wait and see, of course. Obviously, that was changeable yesterday in that qualifying session, as they're all filtering their way out on the racetrack now. Then De Rosa on track, both Gambas on track, Byrne on track, Lopez on track, Carr on track, Kupak on track. Gomez on track. No, you're not reading things. Gomez is in Q3, and some Gal's on track, and somebody else just came out on the track as well.
Well, everybody is out there, so
Kupak on track.
No odd ones out.
All 10 cars now out. Trackers had a bit of a weird gulp there. As through Stowe Corner now, then as De Rosa makes his way down towards Vale and Club.
Let's get
going.
No
soft and hard compound of wet tyre. Just one extreme wet tyre, of course, so no excuses there. Let's see then, as De Rosa now makes his way through the final turn. He will now start his lap. Across the line, he will now go in the McLaren to start his lap now then, as he makes his way down towards the first two turns on the racetrack, flicking it in through the right, and then through the left-hander he will go. Now making
He's getting a lot of confidence in that car. I've never seen someone go this fast in the wet for Abbey. I think De Rosa is feeling extremely brave about this lap. Let's see what he's going to be able to pull off.
As now coming through turn 5, which is Aintree, he'll soon be approaching the first sector point on the track as he makes his way down the Wellington Straight. Let's see what his first sector time is going to be like. And it is a 30.102. Obviously expected to be slower than what it was in Q2 because, of course, most of them were running it on
Roberto Gamba's gone 5 tenths quicker.
Yep, he does a 29.6 there in the first sector, so De Rosa not having the best first sector that time by.
Watch for Gomez, he will set his sector 1 in just a few seconds.
Yep,
30.2.
That is slightly slower, in fact, than De Rosa. In fact, 29.7 for Carr, so not up on Roberto. Roberto quicker than Carr in the first sector there, as you can see. So very interesting there. Whether Carr will pull it back in the second sector, we'll have to wait and see.
Gal at 29.6.
Gal at 29.6. A 29.5 though for Franco Lopez in the middle sector.
30.0 for Franco Gamba in the meantime.
A 30.0 for Evan Byrne, that says as well, for a 30.0. So in the middle sector there, we just had a 113.9. 8 tenths quicker for Gamba in the middle sector compared to Kirishima De Rosa. Now making their way down towards Vale in the double right-hander of Club. Let's see what De Rosa can do then. Through the left and then into the double right-hander we go. This is going to be benchmark time, although he is getting a little bit of understeer for the beginning there.
That's costing him some time right now.
Yeah, a bit of understeer.
Gomez had a woeful sector too. It was a 119, so he's lost a heap of time.
Over a second quicker for Roberto Gamba. 1.4 seconds he was quicker than De Rosa there. And Gomez actually made a mistake going through into Cops.
Yeah, I noticed there on the panel, but yeah, Gomez has lost a woeful amount of time, and this is why he tried to go into cops as if it was dry, and you definitely don't want to do that.
Compromised car a little bit though, that one did as well. He had to lift off the throttle just a little bit there, but Gomez lucky to catch that and not spin.
That's some incredible car control at this speed in these conditions.
Indeed so, but Roberto Gamba nearly 1.5 seconds quicker than De Rosa at the moment. Car, of course, did get a little bit held up by Roberto Gamba, but he was not up on Roberto in the first sector, let's not forget, and it didn't look like he was up on him again in the middle, probably not helped by the fact that he had to lift off a little bit compared to when he had to avoid Gabriel Gomez. But let's see what
we'll have to keep an eye on Franco Lopez, though. He will be going very quick. Car goes into second, but here comes his teammate. He'll probably smash this lap. Let's see.
Yeah,
completely blows it out of the water.
0.3 seconds quicker. Here comes Mikol Scal in the Red Bull. Across the line he will go. Slots into second place. Over a second, though, behind Franco Lopez. Franco Gamba, meanwhile, Mikol Scal's teammate, meanwhile, slots into fourth behind his cousin. Evan Byrne now then comes across the line in the Renault, and he goes into sixth position. David Kupak across the line goes into fourth. Here comes Loa Chung in the Ferrari, the other Ferrari, in fact. As you can see, Gomez's mistake means he's 7.8 seconds off of Franco Lopez. Laura Chung, meanwhile, she's on a good lap across the line. She goes into third.
That's incredible. Ferrari on the second row of the grid in this woeful of a car. That's incredible.
A second row lockout at the moment for the two Ferraris. So currently doing a good job so far in this qualifying session. Kupak in fifth, but at the moment, you could say car not really representative at this point.
No, his lap was slightly compromised, but there is enough time for another one. That's the big thing to take away from it. Car may be down, but it's definitely not out.
Yeah, indeed. As just had to go and briefly do some of that as well. There's been a bit of a collision at the pit lane entrance. That's De Rosa and Roberto Gamba.
Oh my goodness. What on earth was that? There was so bad visibility, and Gamba tried to go for the pit entry, but I just tapped him in the back.
And De Rosa in the process having a crash there and kind of blocking the pit entrance there. It was a weird tap there. That's never really happened really before. I mean, we've had pit lane entrance glitches at this track before in the past, but not ones like that.
No, definitely not, and that was quite a surprise. The conditions are very, very treacherous, and Gamba is going to get back to the pit ASAP as Gal avoids him very narrowly.
That Marshall needs to be smart here, because there are people coming in the pit lane, and is that Red Bull going to avoid? He does. So perfect timing there for the Marshall.
That man is incredibly brave and strong. As Gabriel Gomez, predictably in 10th, is coming into the pits, but he's not in 10th because he was slow. He's in 10th because he made a pretty bad mistake.
Indeed, so as Gomez will be looking to improve on that and potentially try and get himself maybe a tad bit closer to De Rosa. I'm not sure if he's able to get the pace to be a little bit higher up than 10th, but he'll want to be a little bit closer, that's for sure.
Well, it's only a 5-second gap, but there's only one way to go about it.
Indeed, as the AlphaTauri there, giving him a nice little visit there, probably realising that he's not part of that Alpha team, he's part of another Alpha team. Although, to be fair, if that is David Kupak, obviously he could end up at Alfa Romeo next season with David Kupak, given this situation that's going on.
Yeah, but it's a long shot.
Have to wait and see, of course, as there is stiff competition for that.
Ross has gone back out, jumped into the T car incredibly quickly. I bet he just ran to his garage on foot. And got back in the spare car. He's back out on track already. I don't believe there will be enough time for another run after this, so for all intents and purposes, this is the last run.
Well, it's fair to say, of course, as we saw with Roberto Gamba and Roberto Martinez earlier on in practice, they didn't have that far to run to get to their spare car, so it wasn't that much of an emergency, really. You could really rush there. But again, perfect time for the Marshal to ensure that the McLaren there didn't collect anybody else as they were going into the pit entrance there, because it was a little bit of a close call there.
Yeah, indeed. Especially for a car, because he was going full speed, breaking into the pit lane entry, and just missed him by a hair. He came in. Speaking of car, he's not out, but Roberto Gamba is out on track again.
De Rosa on track.
What do you think, Joe? Can anybody steal pole from Lopez, or has he got it completely in the bag?
If one person's going to do it, you could probably say maybe Armar Carr, but we have to wait and see, of course. We know how good Lopez has been in qualifying this season, and so far putting on a good performance so far in this session. I mean, he's been showing some good web rates as we saw in practice earlier on by going over a second quicker than everyone, and I think he did that again in Q1 as well. If I'm not, no, that was Carl who was quickest in practice. I'm on about Q1 there, where he was over a second quicker than everyone. So, yeah, we've seen that he's got some good pace.
But I did speak about Ka holding back earlier. I think now he's gonna unleash everything he's got, and he will claw back a lot of that 2-second deficit. But if he'll claw it back entirely or not, I do not know. In any case, here goes De Rosa for what I presume will be his final lap of the day.
I'll have to wait and see, of course, as he makes his way through the first few corners. There may be some traffic out on the exit. We'll have to wait and see. And luckily for, in fact, there is a Ferrari
That's
in front
Franco.
there.
That's Laura Chunk who's just gone out.
Is he going to get held up by Laura? That's the question. There's a bit of a gap between the pair, so we'll have to wait and see on that one as De Rosa makes his way through the
It really depends just if he's going faster or not than her. If he's quicker than Chung right now, then yes, he will be impeded. But if she's faster, as Rosa is a 10th down in his personal best, he won't have much to worry about.
Love field now, then we'll go De Rosa as he will make his way out of Love
In
field
any
corner.
case, everybody is out on track. Just thought I should mention it. But yeah, De Rosa will be starting P9 as things stand, and I'm not sure if he'll get enough time for another lap after this. So he's got put everything he's got into this one, and not much to say really.
Through Maggots and then into the Beckett's complex, then we'll go Kirishima De Rosa. He was about a 10th down on his personal best in the first sector. Let's see if he can try and gain some of that time back, or whether he's continuing to lose the time. Through Chapel now then, and he is still 1/10 down, so he didn't lose much in the middle sector, but he's still down on his personal best.
Maybe he can get some tow here on the hanger straight from our Chung and make up some ground.
Maybe not too much, but maybe enough to try and help. Let's see. It's De Rosa now that makes his way down towards the Vale and the double right-hander of Club now then, through the left-hander and then into the double right-hander we will now go now then, before making his way towards the final corner and onto the pit straight. We'll go the Polish driver now then, and De Rosa is going to cross the line, and he does improve, but still in 9th position. Roberto, meanwhile, is not up on his personal best, although, to saying that, he did gain time on himself in the middle sector, so he could still improve in this last sector. Let's see.
If he keeps it up in Sector 3, he might be able to claw a place. We'll see, can he get himself into the top 3. Here goes Roberto Gamba. Heading across the line. No.
He
narrowly,
lost time
he didn't improve.
Comes Free Gal, meanwhile, who's currently in P2 at the moment, currently on the front row of the grid, but so far not up on his personal best at the moment. Through the left and then through the double right-hander of Club. See what Miklos Gal can do. Can he find a miracle in the last sector? Let's see, as he's over a second off of Franco Lopez. Gal crosses the line, and he does find some time, in fact, in the last sector to go 7/10 behind Lopez. So he does.
Watch for Ricardo. Can he take pole?
Oh
no, he's only up at the 5th. That's a major surprise. He clawed back only 2/10 from that major deficit. Lopez can improve. What about Gomez?
Gomez P8.
Gomez goes P8. Good improvement. He's knocked De Rosa down to last, which is P10.
And was up on his personal best there.
What is he going to do? He went a little wide into Club. Is that going to cost him a little bit of time?
Burn.
Well, he did improve.
As I was just saying there, Rob, he did make a mistake at the beginning of Club Corner there, so he's lost quite a bit of time. So that might have cost him. So now here comes David Kupok now, then coming around the final turn, down the pit straight and across the line will go the German, and he does not
didn't improve.
Gamba is up.
Watch for Franco Gamba though, he might be able to pull something.
Here comes Franco Gamba now then, as he comes down the straight, and he goes up to 5th. He gets in front of Carr, in fact, so another place down for Armar Carr. Laura Chung coming around the final turn. What can she do? And she doesn't improve. She remains in
nothing really.
Position. And I'm going to have a look. The time, everybody's done their laps, but let's keep an eye on the timer just to be sure if Franco Lopez has got the pole position. And I think he might have done, but we just need to
is going to have to go out in the next 30 seconds to have a real shot at just making it.
As the De Rosa gets wheeled back into the garage now then. And let's see then, just for clarity, as the timer will need to get to 1:42 to get some clarity as to whether Lopez has taken pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix. And the fact that it so far looks like the Ferraris are going to be locking out the second row with Chung in front of Roberto Gamba. Good qualifying for the two Ferraris as we ride on board with one of them. In fact, Laura Chung, as we keep an eye on the timer on the top. As Chung now then makes her way through Woodcut. As now The two Mercedes are now in the pit lane. A few seconds left on the clock compared to Lopez's time. 46, 45, 44,
No, it's
43,
over.
42, 41, and that's it then. So we can officially confirm now then that Franco Lopez has taken pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix. And very good qualifying for the two Ferraris, you'd have to say, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely incredible effort from that the Scuderia. Get those woefully slow cars in a second row. That is very, very impressive. I just can't wait to see what they're going to be able to do tomorrow.
Hello, Thomas Cassidy has just joined us in the stream chat as you've just reached the end of this session, really. But Franco Lopez is on pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix. More bad news, really, you could say, for Armar Car. But can Lopez convert it into the win tomorrow? Will anybody else stop him? It's going to be, I think, quite an interesting race tomorrow. Will it rain tomorrow? That is a question. Or will we have another dry race for this session as the McLaren is going out just to gather some mileage? That McLaren, of course, being Kirishima de Rose, as is Roberto Gamba, who'll be starting in fourth for tomorrow's British Grand Prix behind the teammate Laura Chung, who will start in third position as she gets wheeled back into the garage. I guess we're going to wait till the timer ticks to 0 before we can have a look at Franco Lopez's pole position lap. And of course, me and Rob
of course, we are going to keep quiet.
Yes. Yep, of course, we'll stay silent for that one. As they are being, Chong, of course, being done for the day, and she's going to start very highly in third position. She'll be hoping she can get a good strategy tomorrow if that is the case, as well as was just looking on as a spectator. He really can't seem to get a grasp of qualifying this season, can Joseph Willows? And he's going to be starting all the way down in 14th position for tomorrow's race, just behind fellow compatriot Jake Galloway. As the seconds continue to tick by on the top of your screen, and once we get to 0, we will have a look at Lopez's lap. We have now
and the checker flag is out.
So now we're going to take a look at Franco Lopez's pole position lap and enjoy it.
Drop down, push for a higher place.
And that is how Franco Lopez took pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix. A very good lap indeed. And he's finally, after 2 races, pretty much in the doldrums, really, of 9th and 10th of France and Austria, he's finally back on pole position. And as Laura Chung pointed out in the stream chat, it's a Mercedes and a Red Bull on the front row of the grid. Keep it tidy at Cops, will you two? Anyway, as we're now going to take a look at the top 10 then. So Franco Lopez on pole, Miko Losgau in second, Laura Chung in third, with Roberto Gamba in fourth, then his cousin Franco Gamba in 5th, Armar Carr in 6th, David Kupok is in 7th, with Gabriel Gomez a very impressive 8th in the Alfa Romeo, with Evan Byrne in 9th, and Kirishima DeRosa completing the top 10. So what do you make of that session overall, Rob?
It wasn't as hectic as I would have expected, but it was still quite something. Armar Carr underperformed, I'm afraid. And yeah, Ferrari made a mark quite well.
They did indeed. Well, that is it then for the qualifying session here for the British Grand Prix. Hopefully, it has the makings of a very entertaining race tomorrow. Of course, we don't qualify. We don't do the commentary for the race, of course, because we allowed George to do that for the highlights. Of course, we're not done with streaming just yet because you'll be hearing me and Rob's voice a little bit later on in just over an hour's time for the GP2 race here at Silverstone, which of course sees Ruslan Proksiuk on pole position. Can he finally convert it into a win this time? We'll have to wait and see, of course. But for the meantime, I've been JW97. He's been Robert Ionescu, and we will see you, for us two at least, we'll see you in just over an hour for GP2, but in terms of the top class, we'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. GMT for the 52-lap British Grand Prix. Till then, take care.
Tomorrow's race should be very entertaining, but don't forget, we got another very entertaining race coming right up, so see you in 1 hour.